We met at the International Positive Psychology Association. The minute I heard you speak there, I thought, you know what? I'm going to be friends with this guy. I know it. Knew it. And we had fun. We connected, and it was a great time. And you are a professor, right, at a university in London. And I'd love to hear just a little bit about your background. You have a book coming out too, if it's not already published, right? Love to hear about that. And then we can continue this conversation. But just to officially start in some way.
Great. Although it might be fascinating to do the whole thing without saying a single word about me. And then at the end of it all, give a little bit of background, right? I think it would be very relevant for the whole metaphor of writing.
He's crazy. This man is crazy.
Okay, just a few words to make it all clear. So, yes, as you said, I'm a university professor. I'm a positive psychologist, researching the meeting point between spirituality and psychology. I feel my entire life I felt that these two worlds or ways of thinking or ways of experiencing life, they have a lot to contribute to each other, right? Because if psychology is all about understanding the mind and the way our cognition works, spirituality is all about transcending that process of thinking, what happens to us in that beautiful alternative state of consciousness. And I feel that when I allow myself to experience both and to enjoy both, to enjoy the beauty of the mind and to enjoy the incredible experience of transcending the mind, when I allow myself both, something happens, miracles happens. The depth of life goes like, and it's much more interesting. It feels like an adventure. So that's what I do. That's what I research. More specifically within that, I am fascinated by meditation, mindfulness. I wholeheartedly believe that meditation could change our lives. It changed my life. And I work with students, classes, workshops. I run meditation teacher trainings because I feel that this is a wonderful tool for us to, because, positive psychology is all about increasing well-being. And I feel that mindfulness is inviting us to this greater experience of well-being in life. And yes, as you said, there are a number of books. A book that has been released about 6 months ago, which is titled Awareness is Freedom, The Adventure of Psychology and Spirituality, which sort of gives life to everything I've said up to now. It's teaching us step by step how to incorporate psychology and spirituality in our lives in order to increase well-being and feel that experience of transcendence. I've got a couple of new books coming up, one in a couple of months, which is titled Second Wave Positive Psychology, Embracing the Dark Side of Life. I can talk more about it later if you want. We're trying to rethink about what is positive psychology, what is it all about, what is it trying to research, what should it research. And then we have another one coming out in 6 months, which is Mindfulness in Positive Psychology, the science of meditation and well-being. And the idea of that second book is to bring positive psychology together with mindfulness, because I think there's a lot of work for us to do in relation to how mindfulness increases positive variables such as meaning or strengths or other virtues, instead of just reducing negative variables such as anxiety and stress.
That's great. Yeah, I think that fits into Martin Seligman's, right, his book Thrive, right? The idea of it's not just the absence of negative, but it's the presence of positive.
Yes.
People that we're now getting to,
exactly.
That presence of positive actually helps that there's a play between those two.
That's exactly the final sentence is for me the important one. Have you seen Inside Out?
Yes, I've seen. Yeah, it's like the what is it? The emotions, how they have to interact.
Right. Do you remember what happened with sadness in that movie?
It's been I watched Inside Out, right? With like super distracted because I have an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, so it was like one of these things where it was like bits and pieces.
Okay, so I'll just share in 2 sentences what happens in this movie is that at the beginning, joy is like the dominant emotion. She's taking over, she's pushing everyone around, and sadness is being pushed aside. And it takes about 80% of the movie for Joy to realize that actually she really needs sadness in order for the complete psychological experience to be positive and healthy. Right? So sadness that has been pushed aside should be incorporated in order for that child to really feel and deal with the challenges of life. And in many ways, that's what we're trying to do now with the second wave of positive psychology. We're trying to say that our path to happiness is much more complex than the way we normally approach it. Because we usually think about happiness as this positive emotion of pleasure, right? What is happiness? If I feel good, if I'm joyful, if I'm smiling, woohoo, life is great, then I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'd like to doubt that. I'd like to say, and if anyone's interested in these ideas, I recommend reading more about the distinction between hedonic happiness and eudaimonic happiness, because eudaimonia is that deeper, more complex experience of happiness where we realize that happiness is much more about this alignment between who and what I am and the way I act and the choices I make. In other words, if that which is sitting deep within me is being expressed in my life, then I'm eudaimonically happy, right? So if I have this job that is in line with what feels right for me, and I'm surrounded by the people that feel right to me, yeah? And I'm doing in my spare time the things that feel meaningful and right for me, then I'm eudaimonically happy. But the paradox here is that very frequently doing all of that is so challenging that I could go through negative emotions. I could go through pain or sadness or difficulty or anxiety, a lot of stuff we normally reject, right? So in other words, the point I'm trying to make is that the path towards this deeper eudaimonic happiness is frequently filled with what we call negative emotions. And yet, if we want to achieve that state of deeper happiness, we have to go through these. Have you ever considered why do we call negative emotions negative emotions?
No, I don't. I just thought because I don't want them, right? It's like, why would I want to feel sad?
Exactly, right. So this is the other point. So I don't want them, right?
Yeah.
I want the positive ones. That's the whole idea. The positive. I want to be happy. I want to be joyful.
Sure.
Right. This is good. Negative stuff, go away. And what happens to us psychologically is that our immediate relationship with all of these negative emotions, just as you said, is I don't want you. Go away. And you know what happens with an emotion we try to push away? It finds through the cracks, right?
Yeah. I could listen to you all day. This is fantastic. What influenced you the most? What was along your high school, and who were the people who helped steer you?
Oh, that's a great question. When I was 16, we had this group of very, very good friends. And we used to, we were fascinated by spirituality. We were asking ourselves questions about what is this life all about, and what does it mean for us, and what am I here for? How can I live life fully? And we were very young, and those questions were mind-blowing. And I feel that what happened to me personally is that, what's that?
We were young. There's a guy, I live across the street from a high school.
Right.
I'm just thinking, young, there's like this guy driving a car. I'm like, young kids.
That's the energy of the youth, right?
Yeah, it's like, just rip it.
and you know what? That's exactly what I was going to say, that I was privileged throughout my life to encounter the kind of people that helped me keep these questions alive. So I feel that in many ways, that 16-year-old is still inquiring. He's still curious, right? So if I'm trying to answer the question of what influenced me, who influenced me, I would say it's that internal seed of curiosity and openness
Mm.
that keeps these questions bubbling within me. And throughout my life, I keep on encountering these incredible teachers. And you know what? Forget teachers, students. I owe my students so much of my personal growth because the questions, the doubting, the shaking that I went through as a result of communication with these people, it's incredible.
That's